styles, and you're free to share this video on your wall or on your group. Please, if I say a point, for the sake of those who shall come after us, so please just write the point down on your comments so that someone will come and follow up what you are talking about. So you be our secretary and you also be our listener. So karibuni sana. We are learning about parenting styles. I'll begin by giving you two stories. And listen to this story. So one day, Pastor James here saying that seriousness too high in voltage. Okay, I'll try to smile. This live video came the other day. It's difficult for us, but we are managing. We are adjusting ourselves. So I'll give you a short story. So this family had invited some other 5 families for dinner. And so the dinner table was full of parents and their children. And the mother of the house, who was the host, told the daughter, please, would you mind praying for the food? Would you mind praying for us before you take this food? The daughter was 5 years old. Akasema, Mom, I don't know how to pray. Sijui kuomba. And the mother encouraged her, pray the way you hear me praying. Wewe omba vile unasikia nikiomba. So the girl told all the parents there present and the children, close your eyes, let us pray. And she said in her prayers, oh God, why did you bring all these people here? And everybody opened their eyes, and everybody was surprised, and some laughed. Oh God, why did you bring all these people here? Kube, the mother, could always see people coming by the gate, and the mother could say, oh God, why are they coming? Kwani sasa wakuje? Kwani wasikae kwao? So the girl thought that was a prayer because her mother always mentioned God. That, oh God, sasa, okay, it's funny in our language, like, Mungu, kwa nini hawa wamekuja? Sasa wamekuja kufanya nini Mungu hapa? So the girl thought that was a prayer, and that is the prayer she prayed at the dinner table. What does that teach us? My first point this evening. Our children learn through our example. Our children learn through our example. And the best thing you can do as a parent is to set a good example for your children. You can go to every seminar you need to go. You can read all the books you want to read on parenting. But if you are able to set a good example to your children, then as a parent, you have done your work 50%. Children learn through observation. And as a parent, we are called to be role models. And the first role model of a child is a mother, is a father. So the question is, what kind of role modeling are we offering our children? Is it positive? Is it negative? What kind of example are you setting for your children? Children learn through observation. This is what a sociologist by the name Albert Bandura said when he talked about role modeling. He gave us 4 steps on social learning, how we learn. And these are the 4 steps. The first step is observation. We learn by observing. We learn by what we see. Observation. The second stage of running, he called it retention. Retention. Whatever you see, you retain. You retain it in your memory. Whether the child understood or not, whatever the child observed was retained in the memory. In your memory, you have a place where all images are stored. And those images can be positive, or those images can be negative. That is why it is wrong as parents to fight in front of your children or to argue negatively in front of your children. Because children are observing, and whatever they are observing is being retained in their memories. Retention. The third stage of running, according to Albert Bandura, is after observation, then retention, then there is imitation. Imitation means whatever they observed and they retained in their memory, they began to imitate it. They began to act it out. And Albert Bandura talks about why children imitate. What causes them to imitate? He talked about motivation. Because this child observed something and retained it in the memory, if he gets enough motivation, the child will do it. And then he talked about opportunity. Whatever the child retained in the memory, if he gets a motivation and the opportunity, then the child will have what we call imitation. And that's why as a parent, you need to ask yourself about the third stage. You need to ask yourself, are you giving children opportunities to do what is right? Or by your parenting style, are you giving your child opportunity to do what is wrong? Are there some peers who are motivating your children to do what is right or what is wrong? The third stage of running is imitation. They begin to act out what they observed, what was retained in their memories. And then he talked about the fourth stage, which is replication. Replication is simply you become what you observed. Our children ends up becoming what they saw. That is why we need to influence our children in the right way. As parents, we ask ourselves, what kind of exposure are we giving to our children? Because the observation in the first stage will not becoming replication. They're going to become photocopies. Photocopies of what they observed. So those are the four stages of running by Albert Bandura. Observation, they observed, and then they retained in the memory, retention, and then there is imitation, which is the result of motivation and opportunity, the opportunity they received, they got, and finally replication, they become. So observation is very important. As parents, know this: your children are observing you. And they tell us children are very good in following our example. They are very poor in following our words. Speaking to your child is not enough. You must set the right example. You are the first role model. If you fight, they will think that's the right thing to do. If you are an angry parent who picks up anything and throws to the ground because of your anger, your child will think that is the right way to behave. If you smoke or drink in front of your children, they will think as a grown-up, that's the way to go. And one day they will be over 18. They will do exactly the same because they saw it. It was modeled to them. Children learn through example. So those are the four stages of social learning by Albert Bandura. Observation, retention, which leads to imitation, which leads to replication. If you tell your child, let's go to church, you are sending a message to your child that God is important. If you tell your child, let's read our Bibles, let's pray, they are running through that. They might forget in the future. But because something was retained in their memory, they'll go back to their Bibles, they go back to prayer, they'll start looking for a church. Why? Because something was retained in their memory. Doesn't matter even if your child goes the wrong way. Doesn't matter. If you set the good example, whatever the child had was retained in a memory, and it will affect the child. Now, let's move one step ahead. I want to give you this story and learn from this story. It is going to be a blessing to you. Learn from this story. This story will become a blessing to you. So this is a story. So this father was very strict on the children. And the father could like push the children to milk the cows, close the gate, cook. The father could push the children, switch off your own lights, switch on the lights before you sleep, put off the tap after you use the water. So the father was like very strict on the children to put things right. Huyo mzazi hagesaidia mtoto kufanya kitu. Alikuwa anasimama na mwambia chukua hiyo kitu imekuwa hapo chini. Whatever is down, pick it up. And the son said, when I'll be out of this place when I'm 18 years, I'll never come back. This is slavery. My father is always on my case, telling me, switch off the lights, pick up that thing, make your bed, close the gate, close the door, switch off the water tap. And the son said, when I'm 18 years, I'll be out. I'll be out of this family. And I'll go get my own job, and I will not be coming back. I don't want this kind of slavery. So akamaliza university, alipofika 18 akaitwa interview ya job. So akaenda amefurahi na degree yake kwa interview. So alipofika kwa gate akakuta gate imefunguliwa. The gate was open. So this young man decided, let me close the gate. I don't see any car coming in. Let me close the gate. So he closed the company's gate. Alipofika kwa corridor akaona lights iko on. Ni saa 5 na lights iko on. Aka switch off the lights. Kuna mtu amemwambia switch off the lights. As he was climbing the stairs, akakuta some lights are also on. Aka switch off the same lights. As he was climbing the stairs, akakuta a flower vase ambayo imeanguka. So akaisimamisha vizuri, akaiweka vizuri. Akakuta interview room, people wamejaa huko na ma certificates. Na yeye akachukua namba, akaketi chini. So when he sat down, akaitwa. He was the first one to be called. And he wondered, why am I being called? And wengine nimewakuta hapa. Secretary akamwambia, go to the interview room. You'll be the first one to be interviewed. So akaketi, akaulizwa maswali kuhusu maisha yake. Then akaambiwa, we had only one position, and the position is yours. Akamwambia interview is over. Akauliza why? Akaambiwa, look at that screen. Look at that CCTV camera. Akaambiwa, we watched you from the gate. Intentionally, we left the gate open. Intentionally, we left the lights on. Intentionally, the flower vase, we put it down. Intentionally. We wanted to see who is this job applicant, who is responsible enough, who has initiative, who is this job applicant, who has the leadership skill, who can put long things light. You have a degree, but you have more than a degree. You have character, you have sense of responsibility, you have initiative, you can become a good leader, and that's what we are looking for. Someone with a degree, but also with the values of responsibility and initiative and leadership. Someone who can put things right in this company. So the job is yours. And the interview was over. The same young man who said, when I get a job, I'll never go back home, went running, knelt before his father, and told his father, thank you. I got this job because of you. You taught me responsibility. You taught me hard work. You taught me honesty. You taught me to wake up early. I thought it was a punishment, but you are instilling values in my life. I wanted to begin there. And as we said last time, that parenting must be purpose-driven. That's what we said last time. We said parenting must be future-focused. We said parenting must be prayer-enabled. And we said parenting must be value-driven. I hope you remember all those points talked about principles of parenting. Today, we won't talk about parenting styles. And I will also give you my own personal examples on how I was parented. And maybe on the comments, you can also write down some comments about parenting. Some comments you hear me talking about parenting, and you can also give us your own story, short story on how you are parented. Now, there are 4 parenting styles, according to Diana, a psychologist. Diana Bumbrand talked about 4 parenting styles. And I'm going to explain them to you. And I'm going to bring them into context. Now, the first parenting style he talked about was authoritarian parenting. You can note that down. Authoritarian parenting. There are parents who are authoritarian. Another simpler word for that is dictatorial parenting. They are dictators. You note that, then I'll come back to that. The second extreme parenting, extreme style of parenting, after authoritarian, we have another extreme on the other side. We call it neglecting parenting or absent parenting. Neglecting parenting is whereby the parent neglects the child. Authoritarian parenting is where the parent is over strict. This parent, we call him a punishing parent. On the other extreme side, we have the parent who neglected the child. The third way of parenting, we call it permissive. Permissive parenting. In permissive parenting, the parent is present, but the parent allows the child to have his or her way. We call it permissive parenting, whereby the parent permits the child. We are coming back to that. The fourth style of parenting by Diana Bumbrand, she talked about authoritative parenting. Authoritative parenting. And psychologists have come to agree that is the best way to parent your child. Authoritative parenting. I want you to differentiate between authoritarian parenting and authoritative parenting. I'm going to explain and define for you, and you shall get the difference. Now, before I go into the details of the parenting styles, I want you to note, and if you can write down on the comments, note that there are 4 areas your child needs to be parented. And ask yourself as a parent, are you parenting your child in these 4 areas? Write them down. 4 areas whereby you need to make sure you're parenting your child in those 4 areas. The first area is discipline. And we are going to see the 4 parenting styles and how they discipline their children. The other area is communication. Communication. How you communicate to your child. The other area is nurturing. How do you nurture your child? How do you mature and grow up your child? How do you nurture up that child? And the 4th area is expectations. Do you give your children expectations? Does your child have an expectation from you? So, 4 areas that are important in parenting your child. And those 4 areas, we are going to see how an authoritarian parent deals with a child in the area of discipline, communication, nurturing, or expectation. So please, someone can write down those 4 areas on the screen for the sake of those who are joining us right now. For those who are joining us, Robert Doe, you're most welcome. We are on parenting styles. I've said there are 4 areas in which you must make sure that your child is parented in the right way. The first area is discipline. The second area is communication. The third area is nurturing, how you nurture your child. And the 4th area is expectations. Do you set expectations for your child? Those 4 areas are very important. And we're going to see all these parenting styles in these 4 areas. Now, we start with the authoritarian parenting. An authoritarian parent, these are the parents who are always in control of their children, always in control. Now, we say in our families, in our houses, it's either the parent who is in control or it is the child who is in control. So ask yourself, who is in control? Who is in control of your family? Is it you as a parent, you as a mother, you as a father, or is it your child who is in control? Now, so an authoritarian parent is in control, but this authoritarian parent is strict and very stern, and he is all over. An authoritarian parent believes that children are supposed to be seen and not heard. If you're an authoritarian parent, you believe that children are supposed to be seen and not heard. So, if you are brought up by a parent who was authoritarian, this parent alikuwa anataka tu kukuona lakini haja kukusikiza. And one of the complaints we receive is, my mother never listened to me. My father never listened to me. They are called authoritarian parents. Children are supposed to be seen and never heard. Authoritarian parents, they are also called punishing parents. What they do is they punish the children. Instead of nurturing the children, they fight them, they punish them. Now, before we go on, let me give you the difference between what is discipline and what is punishment. What is discipline and what is punishment? There's a big difference. And you are going to conclude if you are disciplined or you are punished. Now, discipline means to disciple. That's why you get the word discipline. In Greek, it means to disciple. It means to correct. It means to train. It means to teach. It means to show the child the right way. That's the meaning of discipline. You remember us in high school or in primary school, we talked about, especially our deputy headmasters, they were disciplinarians, like they were in charge of discipline. To us, discipline was punishment. No, there's a big difference. In fact, most of our deputy headmasters and principals in our high schools, we call them discipline masters, but they were not discipline masters. That was punishment. Discipline means to disciple. It means to correct. It means to teach and to train a child in the right way. It means to show the way. Simply get this. To discipline means to disciple. So were we discipled? Were we taught? Were we trained? Were we coached by our parents? Did they show us the right way? Ama waligoja tu tufanye makosa watupige. So let me define for you this what is discipline. Discipline means to teach desired behavior. In discipline, you train, teach, and show the child the desired behavior. So in discipline, ugoje mtoto afanye makosa and then uanze kumpiga. Hapana. In discipline, kabla makosa haijatokea, uanze kutrain mtoto, kutishi mtoto jinsi ya kuongea mbele ya watu, jinsi ya kurespect watu wale wengine, unamfunza tabia mzuri. You are teaching the child the desired behavior. So discipline is about desired behavior. What is punishment? Punishment is inflicting pain. Anytime punishment is mentioned, it means you are inflicting pain because of a past behavior. Punishment means you are inflicting pain because of a past behavior. So mtu amefanya makosa, hukumwambia hiki kitu anafanya ni kibaya, lakini unangojea afanye makosa, unampiga, unamfukuza nje, unamnyima chakula, anaenda huko kwa baridi. That is punishment. You are inflicting pain because of a past behavior. So our parents, did our parents give us discipline or did they punish us? Were our parents punish us or were they teachers? Did they nurture us or did they punish us? Now let me tell you something about punishment, and maybe you are going to understand yourself better. When you are punishing a child, you are inflicting pain because of a past behavior, because of what this child has done. Now, that pain will be recorded somewhere in the subconscious. In the unconscious of the child, the pain will be recorded there. We talked about retention as we began. So that pain will be retained in the memory. So when the child will grow up, atafanya nini na that pain? Unless a miracle happens, the same pain this child was inflicted by the parent, the same pain will come out in form of anger. The child will inflict the pain. The child will never heal. And the child in you who is in pain will project that pain and release it on your own children. You are going to release it on your husband. You're going to release the pain on your wife. You're going to fight everybody because you are a person of pain. You have carried pain in you for long. So unless you do something about that pain, you are going to release that pain on every person who is close to you. That is the danger of punishing children. The same pain that was inflicted in them, the same pain will be inflicted in others. And that's why we say that the abuser was once a victim. The abuser was once the abused. But the abused never healed. As a parent, we need to heal. We as parents, we need to heal. Because a lot of pain was inflicted in us. A lot of pain was put in us. So unless we heal, we are releasing the same pain to our children, to our husbands, to our wives, to our co-workers, to the people we are with. And that's why we find there are some people who are always angry, always fighting, always cursing. Why? It is pain in them that was never healed, and so they're inflicting the same pain on others. So we ask this question once again. Were we disciplined or were we punished? Did our parents sit with us and teach us desired behavior? Ama walikojea tufanye makosa watuue. Somebody said, and maybe you need to go for a commercial break and laugh a bit. Now, somebody said these words, and I want you to listen to them. Now, somebody said that my parents never fought me. In fact, akasema ati me, I only remember two times when my parents beat me up. The rest was attempted murder. So, were we beaten, were we punished, or was it attempted murder? To many of us, it was attempted murder. Because ulipigwa mpaka unaanza kudoubt, mimi ni wa hii familia. Some of us tungetoroka nyumbani ni fair tu kupata. Kwa sababu tulipigwa kwa sababu ya makosa yetu. Tukapigwa kwa sababu ya makosa ya wale the other siblings, and that's why we have some siblings you don't like and love. Hatutaki kuwaona kwa sababu ukimuona unakumbuka ulipigwa kwa sababu ya makosa yake. And that helps you to understand why there's a lot of sibling rivalry. Even after kuwa watu wakubwa, unaona who brother asikizani na who sister. Who sister asikizani na the younger sister. Kwa nini? Because some of our sisters and our brothers are a reminder of our pain. Hata ukienda kwa get together, utaki kumsalimia. Kwa sababu unakumbuka this child, my small sister was favored and I was punished because of her sin. Ulipewa sababu ya makosa yako na makosa ya wenyewe. Ukapigwa kwa sababu ya kulia, unaambiwa usilie. Then ukilia unapigwa ili unyamaze. Then unapigwa kwa sababu ya kunyamaza. Kwenda kupiga na huli, ukilia unapigwa ili unyamaze. That was the story. We were punished. That pain is in us. And that is why we must go through a process of releasing that pain to God. We get healed, we become whole, so that we can also bring up whole children. So now at least you have understood the difference between discipline and punishment. Now, authoritarian parents, what they do is they don't discipline their children. They don't teach them. They don't coach them. They don't sit down with them. Wewe ulikaa chini na mzazi wako? That was impossible. Ni alikuwa anaongea. They were dictators. So authoritarian parents, they dictated everything. They were always in control. They could not listen to the child. Hangesikiza huyo mtoto. Have you ever come to note we have some grown-ups even today, including me, ambao wanasema, why not listening to me? Why not paying me attention? It is a childhood need. They never listened to us. So in the area of discipline, they punish. In the area of communication, they never listen to the child. Now, in the area of nurturing, they never showed affection to the child. Psychologists tells us that you're supposed to hug your child 12 times in a day. So were you hugged? Were you given affection? Were you given attention? Were you given affirmation? Were you given approval? Were you given assurance? Was that given to you? How were you nurtured? Okay, let me tell you my short story. Me, when I was growing up, I grew up in a family of a single mother. And I tell you the truth, me, I can't remember when my mother smiled at me. Ati kusimailiwa. And remember, this son of the mother, alikuwa anakuja namba moja. Throughout my primary school, I always came number 1. Me, I never saw my mother smiling at me. Ati sasa nimejaribu. Naenda kwa shule napatiwa a lot of rewards kwa sababu nimepita, lakini kusmailiwa, singesmailiwa. Na sasa hiyo ni kusmailiwa. Kuja kwa kuhaga. Me hugging, I never knew when my mother hugged me. So I grew up without affection. I came to realize that I'm treating my children the same. Mimi naweza toka kwa safari, nimeenda for a whole week, for a mission, I come back. Moriokuo, na saizo hakuwa na COVID. Muko, na hakuna COVID. Hakuwa na COVID. I came to realize I'm not showing affection to my children. I'm not greeting them in the right way. In fact, somebody told me, a friend told me, Pastor, have you ever come to realize unasaniaga watu tu kama kuwaguza tu mikono? Akaniambia, you are supposed to have a handshake. Handshake ile ya ODM na Jubilee. Like, uguze mkono kabisa. Me, I'm not good in those things because it was not modeled. I was not nurtured that way. Kwa sababu, ukitoka kwa shule, unaambiwa enda kwa shamba. Enda kwa mto. Hata mama mzazi kusalimia. So I grew up not knowing how to greet, how to show affection. But slowly by slowly, I'm running to be like Yeah, like hugging people. Wanaitwa huggers. Okay. I'm not a good hugger. So I'm learning story by story how to show affection, how to show attention, even how to listen to others. Both by an authoritarian mother, nurturing was hard. Now, in the area of expectations. In the area of expectations, authoritarian parents, they have high expectations for their children, but these high expectations, they are never explained. Like, nataka ukuje top 10. No explanation. Don't bring a D here. Don't bring an E here. Don't bring an F here. No C. I want an A or a B. No explanation. They have high expectations. Now, we go to the other kind of a parent because of our time. And this parent, tunamuita neglecting parent. These were the parents ambao they were so busy kutafuta pesa and they neglected their children in the name of missions, in the name of business, in the name of travel. Wengine, they are called long distant parent. We call them non-resident fathers and mothers. Anakujaga tu mwisho wa mwezi na mkate mkubwa. Akikuja, hataki kujua mtoto wangu aliperform aje kwa shule. Hataki kujua marafiki wa watoto wake. Hataki kujua kama watoto wanapata balanced diet. Hataki kujua. They are absent sometimes physically and they are absent emotionally. They are called neglecting parent. When a parent neglects the child, what happens is the child now goes into control. Tumesema it's either the parent who is in control or the child who is in control. In neglecting parenting style, the child is in control because there is a vacuum. So the child is in control. So huyo mtoto anaishi maisha yake. Huyo mtoto anafosiwa kugrow hata kabla miaka yake. Ni ana decide what to eat or what not to eat. Where to go, where not to go. Because the parent neglected his or her responsibility. So in the area of discipline, there's no discipline. Who is there to discipline the child? Unakumbuka tunasema asiyefunzwa na mamaye, funzwa na ulimwengu. Meaning, the parent must be there to discipline, to offer correction, to show the way. So mtoto they end up in prisons. Children who are brought up by neglecting parents, they end up in prisons, they end up in drugs, they end up in wrong company because nobody was there to show them the way. The parents neglected the children. Neglecting parenting. So in the area of expectations, no communication because the father or the mother is never there. So there is no communication, there is no nurturing. Mtoto ako in control. Now, because of time, let's go to the third style of parenting. And in this third style of parenting, you need to listen to this. We call it permissive parenting. Now, in permissive parenting, the father and the mother allows the child to have his or her own way. In neglecting parenting, the father and the mother is absent. The parent is absent. But in permissive parenting, the parent is present. But the parent is so weak character-wise, so weak emotionally, so weak in decision making, anaruhusu mtoto afanye chochote ambacho anataka, anampermit. Do whatever you want. So in permissive parenting, the child is also in control. Mtoto akitaka pesa anapatiwa. Haulizi ni za nini. Akitaka kwenda nje anaambiwa. Haulizi umeenda wapi. Haulizi who are your friends. Akitaka kukula chips na soda ya Fanta arare na hapo hakuna balanced diet, anakula analala. In permissive parenting, mtoto analala wakati ule anataka. There are no rules. There are no expectations. You know, in good parenting, you must put rules and regulations and expectations for your child. Kuwe a predictable program wakati wa kuamka na wakati wa kulala. Wakati wa kukula na wakati wa kufanya kazi. There is like a predictable program if you have to do parenting for your children in the right way. But in permissive parenting, there's no discipline, or there's only little discipline. No expectation. Akikuja na C ni vizuri, akikuja na D vizuri, akikuja na A ni vizuri. There are no expectations. So in permissive parenting, you permit your child to do what or she wants. Akitaka kitu anapatiwa, akitaka kwenda pahali anaenda. You are there physically, but you are absent emotionally. You are absent in setting the vision and the goals and the rules for your child. You do nothing. You are just there. Now the parent is seen, just there to be seen. And the parent is there to gratify the desires of the child. And that's very dangerous. Because permissive parents, they bring up spoiled brats, spoiled children. I repeat that once again. Permissive parents, they bring up spoiled brats, spoiled children. Now, I have some few minutes, and let me talk about authoritative parenting. And it is considered to be the best way, the best holistic, balanced way of parenting your child. In authoritative parenting, the parent is in control, but in discussion with the child. The parent has the final word, the final say, but amediscuss na mtoto, wameongea. In authoritative parenting, mzazi anasema, I want you to become a lawyer. End of discussion, and there was no discussion. Anasema end of discussion, end of debate, and there was no debate. But in authoritative parenting, the parent have the final word, the final say, but in discussion with the child. Wanakashi na mtoto, wanaongea. Anambia mtoto, mi naona you can become this, you can do this. So the rules are there, the regulations are there. The child and the father, they are in talking terms. They talk and they agree. Whenever there is like a disagreement, they disagree, then agree. So the parent is afraid. The parent is consulting the child. They are in talking terms. That is the best way to parent a child. Before I go on, I want to ask you a question. You have teenagers in your house. Do you talk to your teenager? Do you speak to your teenager? Or do you talk with? Do you speak with? Some of us, because we were brought up by parents who are perfectionists, they never gave us a room to talk our issues out. The word of the father, the mother was final. End of story. It is important when a child grows up, you begin to speak with, to talk with, to consult, to sit down, to pray together. Iyo ya pray na kupray, ile ya pray na ile ya kucheza. You do that with your child. You become friend to your daughter. You become a friend to your son. That when the child knows that my father is my friend, my mother is my friend, akienda huko nje apate shida, ataiongea. Ataiongea kwa sababu my father is not my enemy, my father is my friend. In authoritative parenting, the parent is a friend. The parent talks with, discusses with. At the end of the day, mtoto anasikizwa. In terms of expectations, it is high, but the expectations are like explained. Do you explain your expectation to your child concerning education, concerning their future, concerning their destiny? In terms of discipline, there is correction. You show the child the right way. In terms of nurturing, this father, this mother is affectionate. So in terms of communication, they speak with. We call that authoritative parenting. And it is psychologists have come to conclude it is the best way to parent your child. I will end this teaching with a short story. Maybe you have heard this story, but you need to listen to it again. So in one estate, we had an old man and a young man. Now, the old man planted some flowers, and the young man planted some flowers at the same time. The young man used to water the flowers every morning, afternoon, and evening. Akaweka fertilizer mingi, and the flowers were doing well from the outside. Fertilizer ni mingi, maji ni mingi, anaipalilia all the time, morning, afternoon, and evening. The old man alimwagilia maji tu asubuhi tu kidogo, anashana nayo the whole day. Akaiweka fertilizer just one time, akachana nayo. Then there came a storm, like we had that, like one that has been happening in the US this week. We are calling it Laura. So after a stormy night of floods and kunyesha, in the morning the flowers za huu kijana zote they were all taken away by the flood. So they were all uprooted and they were gone. But za mzee, they were beautiful, they were strong, and they were stable despite the storm. So the young man was said, I have done out of work, kumwagilia asubuhi, saa 7 jioni, weka fertilizer every day. What kupalilia every day? What is my mistake? Mzee akamwambia, you see my flowers? Because I give them just a little water to sustain them, they were able to go down, the roots of the flower are able to go down to find their own water. And so my flowers' roots were very strong, and so they stood the test of the storm. They were never uprooted because the roots were strong. They were deep-rooted because they went down in search of water. Yours, because you are always watering asubuhi, saa 7 na jioni, the roots could not go down because the water was available. And so your flowers are not deep-rooted, and that's why they were uprooted by the storm. My last question as we conclude, and the question is, are you overwatering your children? Are you overwatering your children? Or are you allowing your children to get their own roots? Are you allowing your children to find their own roots by giving them just a little water to sustain them? Or are you doing everything for your children? Think about that parable. Think about that illustration as a parent. Am I overcaring, spoiling my children? Or am I allowing them to find their own roots? Thanks a lot for listening. Pastor Isaac, asanti sana. Robert, asanti sana. Rusi, asanti sana. Mary, asanti sana. Thank you for following. David, asanti sana. Jao, asanti sana. Pastor Peter Wamauta, asanti sana. Bwana Jagi, asanti sana. Thank you all of you for coming to this program about parenting styles. I thank God for you, and I pray that in the name of Jesus, may God bless you, and may God bless your families, may God bless your marriages, and may God bless your children. Let's meet next time, and may God be with you. May you become an effective parent, setting a good example for your children. I hope you have learned something that you never knew, and please I ask you to go and